Can you read that? Yes, Australia. This card came from Australia. It came very, very fast. I bought it off eBay. This is my first WWF Scanlens wrestling card. I'm terrifically excited. Now, it's not the Hulk Hogan #1. It is the Hulk Hogan #16. I'm hoping to get the #1 down the line, but I am thrilled just the same to have this in my possession and to be opening this today. The Scanlens is a special card set. It was released in Australia and New Zealand. I did research it and found some varying information online. I have always known it to be an Australian card set, but I did find a site that said it's from New Zealand as well, so probably it was released in both. And I don't know much about it. If you do know the history of this Scanlens wrestling card set, please leave a comment below, but I'm going to tell you what I know. Topps came out in 1985, and OPC came out in 1985 as well, with the WWF Wrestling Stars set. Featured Rowdy Piper, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, a lot of different cards that people wanted from the golden age of wrestling. The most prominent cards there were the #1 Hogan and the #16 Hogan. And then, like I said, there were in-action shots of other wrestlers. Some of them had portrait cards like Brutus Beefcake. Some of them you just saw in wrestling action in the ring. The cards that are the most coveted ones are the portrait cards, and Hulk Hogan had 2 of those. The #1 card has a yellow background, and the #16 card has a blue background. The OPCs, which came out in Canada, it is a Canadian brand, but exactly the same cards, are much rarer than the Topps ones. And the Scanlen ones are even much rarer than that. So where the Hulk Hogan #1 might have a PSA pop count of 1,000 in Topps, say, it will have a 200, say, in OPC, and then maybe a 10 or 20 in Scanlens. That's how much rarer the Scanlens versions are than the other releases, but they're the exact same cards. And the Scanlens ones came out a year later, so they're 1986, where the Topps and OPC are 1985. The base set has 66 cards in it. Scanlens has no stickers. The only other differentiating factor I know about the Scanlens is that it's a thinner cardstock and therefore much harder to keep in good shape. So PSA pop counts are probably not going to change much for the higher grade ones because you can't find Scanlens wax, you can't find unopened product, and anything that's been opened is going to be compromised just because the cardboard is so thin. So this is the one I purchased. It is a #16 PSA 6. I spent a few $100s on it. The only other time I've approached buying a Scanlens wrestling card, I did find a #1 in a PSA 4, 5, or 6 or something in that range, a mid-range, during the boom, and I believe the eBay seller was offering it for $500. I offered $300, was rejected, and didn't pursue it. This one I bought for, I believe, under $300 in a PSA 6. And the reason I was able to pull that money together, $300 to me, that's still a pretty big card. I don't play around in $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 cards. Just too volatile and too risky for me. And also cash flow. I don't want to cough up $3,000 on a piece of cardboard. So my limit is $200, $300 a card. To me, that's a big card. So I had a gift certificate that my wife gave me for Christmas last year, and I also had a Visa gift card that I received from some other special occasion. So I pulled those together, came up with the money to buy this Scanlens card, jumped right over it. I can't wait to open it, to hold it in my hands, and to take a look at it. Let's do this.
CollectAWrestlePalooza. CollectAWrestlePalooza.
So here's the card. Let's pull it out of the folder here. It does look like the seller used the appropriate green painter's tape, which is always a bonus. Do not put Scotch tape or even worse, packing tape on a card. Anything that's going to be touching the card or the team bag, much better to use the non-adhesive painter's tape, either the blue tape or the green froggy tape. Works very well for that purpose. And here it is. And it's a beauty. Even just looking at this, first impressions, the color is bright, it's vivid. There there aren't any print defects on the card. And when I say print defects, what I mean is sometimes there's almost a second ghost image on these cards because the printing press with the different colors may have been a little bit misaligned. So a lot of times you see the Hulk Hogan with some fuzziness. This one looks pristine. It looks like all of the color matching was really good. It is slightly top to bottom off center, a little bit left to right off center, but it's pretty dang well centered, which I look for in the vintage cards, particularly in mid grades. If something's going to be a 5, 6, or 7 as opposed to an 8, 9, or 10, I like the reason for that to be overall wear as opposed to off center or creasing. Anything like that that distracts the eye, takes away from the experience of owning a vintage card. And this isn't really vintage, but in the wrestling realm, we'll call it a vintage card. So anything that I'm going to buy in a 6, I want the eye appeal to be really good. This one has great eye appeal. The other thing I like about this particular Hulk Hogan card is just his look on it. Most of the Hulk Hogan cards, he is locked in Hulkamania. He looks like the larger-than-life Hulk Hogan character as opposed to the Terry person who is the real guy behind the wrestler. And in this one, he looks human. He looks like he just won a belt. He looks almost humbled by that. And that's why I really like this card. And of course, I also like it because it is the first official licensed Hulk Hogan card. There are the 82 All-Stars and the Poppies and those other cards, but they're not official WWF licensed cards. This is. Now, 86 is a year later than the 1985 Topps or OPC, but the rarity of the Scanlens brand makes it much more desirable. And if we look at the back of this card, you can see the Scanlens insignia, and what better thing for it to say than World Wrestling Federation Champion. Very simple, just a nice background, advertises Hulk Hogan as the WWF champion. Can't do better than that. It's very hard to see within a PSA holder the thinness of the card. I'm going to just assume that it is the case because I know that the Scanlens from my research are a thinner card stock, but you can't really tell that feature in the holder itself. This one got a 6, probably because the corners are soft. It's just overall, you know, it's not a pack fresh brand new card, but like I said, it does look to be in really good condition. The surface, looking at it, doesn't look too bad either. So extremely happy with this. I can't wait to add this to my collection. It's a big boy. It's a couple $100, and I expect that it's only going to rise in value as wrestling cards continue to gain prominence. So great day for me. Got another great Grail card in my collection. What are you guys up to? What are you collecting? Please leave some comments. Let me know how the hobby's treating you. Have a great week.